Hello, hello, hello. It's a new season. It's a new day. Church kid, church kid. Okay, thank you all for coming on. This is season 2, episode 1 of Dope Sessions, and we are on Black Excellence TV, BX TV, and we are so excited to be here. I am your host, Jessica Van. Today's guest is amazing. I met him in Los Angeles. I want to say like a decade ago. It's been that long. I met him at a conference, and we sat and had a conversation. And he's just a brilliant mind. He's a journalist. He's written for Hip Hop DX. He's Complex magazine, doing big things at BET. He's worked for Will I Am, the Know Your Rights campaign. He does his thing. Amazing photographer, and much more. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Ural Garrett. Woo!
Thank you for the lovely introduction, ma'am. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
No problem. No problem. How you doing today?
All right, can't complain. Another day, another dollar. Another way get close to the dreams.
I feel you. I feel you. Go Wapale, I'm on my Go Wapale.
Absolutely.
So I don't waste any time. I don't waste no time. I let people get plugged right away. So pause. So tell us how to contact you, Ural.
Yeah, I'm on all the social media networks. IG, I'm on there a lot. So EuroG323. Twitter/X, EuroG. I'm on LinkedIn. I have a portfolio site / just general business site, EuroG.com. Yeah, I'm fairly available.
That's what happens when you're him. Okay, you all over the place. That's wonderful. Yeah. So I always ask this question: how did you get started? I know I met you as a photographer.
Uh-huh.
I want to say that you were venturing into journalism. You probably already been. It
was actually the other way around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kind of the other way around. But yeah, I've been shooting and writing since college. So I'm a Southern University grad, Southern University A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Shout out to the Jags.
All right.
Yeah, so I started at student media. So I guess that's where a lot of folks that start, I guess, in college when you're doing the journalism thing. So I wrote for the newspaper, I wrote for the magazine, I wrote for yearbook, I shot photos for yearbooks, I shot photos for the magazine, and I shot photos for the newspaper. So kind of like intertwined with each other. I covered everything from protests. I covered the June 6th protests in like 2007. I covered that's on that end. On the video game side, I covered one of the first Black developed video games for a major console. I covered on the music side. I covered homecoming concert every year. Just kind of like local stuff. I even covered jazz band and gospel choir. I cover like every musical aspect. So when you go to school like Southern, like music is like the thing. Probably more so. That's just like HBCU, Southern HBCU culture, where it's like the band, and then all the other bands, and then the student artists that are trying to figure it out as artists. I covered them. I also was in Baton Rouge between 2005 and 2009. Well, I graduated in 2008. So that was the year of Boosie. So in Trill Entertainment, Wipe Me Down was popping and Zoom and all that. So I got to kind of watch that and cover that as well. So that kind of elevates for me, hustling my way through various outlets, whether it's like the Houston Sun, where it's Soul Train before BET bought them up. I wrote for SoulTrain.com. I wrote for Complex. I wrote for internet UK outlet called Soul Culture UK. So I covered a lot of artists in the UK, including a very early Little Sims before kind of her rise stateside. And then that led for me again Complex. I started actually the first byline I had for Complex was for video games, actually, believe it or not. And that kind of evolved later on for me to cover a lot more music and film stuff. Then I ended up on staff at Hip Hop DX. There for like 3 years. Between like I was freelance from like 2014, and then I got on staff 2015. I stayed there around 2017, where I ended up working for leaving that, working for Will I Am. I'm at his production company, I Media, that he had. So we did some AR stuff, like augmented reality stuff, virtual reality stuff. We had music artists signed. We had some film and television stuff we were doing. And in the meantime, while I was doing that, I started all throughout that time. I'm shooting photos too. So I was shooting photos for like OK Player. I was for a bit. I was writing for. I started writing for MTV around that time. I started writing for IGN on the gaming side, so that kind of allowed me to eventually kind of get into tech more. Where I was writing, where I write now for like Tech Radar Gaming, CNN underscored. Where I cover a lot of gaming and VR stuff, which is pretty cool. And then now, I'm at Know Your Rights Camp as a digital editor over there, which is really cool. And we got some really cool stuff we're doing over there. And then, what else? Oh, yeah, just some, the Lyric Lounge with Tasha Taylor Euro. We have a radio show on KBLA 1580 AM, which is the only Black-owned talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I'm learning a lot from Tavis Smiley, the GOAT journalist for sure. So we have a really cool show where we just sit down, discuss song lyrics, which is pretty cool. Sometimes we have guests as well. We really cover like just all the aspects of Black music and international music as well. And then some white folk stuff from time to time. But yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
That's dope. That is amazing. That was so much. Hey, let me ask you, if you don't mind, how old are you?
37.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You doing your thing. I'm proud of you. You
Yeah.
been doing a lot. I was gonna say that was I met you. It was at a Urban Network.
Yeah. So
digital
that was it. I probably would have been at Hip Hop DX around that time still.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, a lot has changed.
so I did want to talk to you a lot about media from a branding perspective, and clearly you have a wide array of understanding about building your brand with media. I do kind of have a partiality for this one for artists, because a lot of artists, I think, they don't know to take themselves to the next level. It's got to be beyond just social media and your social numbers and all that stuff. Like before, it was a subscription on Instagram. You had to have certain media, certain publicity in order to even be considered to get verified. And so like I know a lot of people thought it was just, pay off somebody $10,000 and that's how you get
Yeah.
it.
Well,
But
it's not 10,000, but you can definitely pay somebody off to get that.
yeah. I mean, now anybody can get it. So it's
pay for it. So
I don't need to be verified.
yeah.
It's me. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about, like, nowadays, if you're an artist, what are some small step things that people can do to kind of get noticed and get out there, so that either the media picks up their story, or the right networking leads them to getting featured on some type of platform, such as a hip hop or DX or a Complex, etc.
Well, if you're going on a pure networking basis, I tell artists all the time, go to shows. Go to shows. Hang out. Like, earn community, even if it's a friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's a friend, go to shows. You don't know who you might run into. You never know who you might run into at a show. That's the first thing. It's going to be journalists there. It's going to be at least some type of press there hanging out. It's going to be fans hanging out, especially if your music kind of aligns with the artist that particular fan is seeing. That puts you in a position to where you can get a fan just from them being a fan of an artist, that they're going to see. I think that's one thing. Like I said, going to shows, because the reality is that, like, you can't be a chef and like not eat at other restaurants.
Right. Right.
So I think that's one thing for sure. And I think most of the time, even if let's just say you're an artist, you don't really have a big following or anything like that, I think the best thing to do for press, because if you're an artist that doesn't necessarily have a following, and if you don't have a following, most of the time outlets aren't necessarily going to just cover you outright. Most of the time it's really just to build. I think worry about building a genuine relationship with press, so that by the time you get to the point, sometime down the line, you'll have that relationship, so that when you're really to make that push toward a big press outlet, a big media outlet, then hopefully by then you'll have the numbers, you'll have the numbers, or at least the following behind you, because most of the time people, like, artists don't understand that at the end of the day, media is a business too. It's just an ancillary business. Even it's media is an ancillary business of a lot of different industries. So part of it is that, like any industry, it's a business, right? So people don't understand, like, a lot of people get, most journalists that are well worth your size, especially when you're writing at the BET levels, the MTV levels, the Hip Hop DX levels, the Rolling Stone. These are people that are getting paid, and the expectation, just editorially, is that those articles are going to get page views, which translate into some type of money or something to that effect, right? So part of it is that a big outlet necessarily is usually going to cover artists who are on the cusp or something, or if they don't have the following, they're a part of a bigger conversation. Mm-hmm. So if this type of popular style of rap, or this type of style of music, is coming from a specific new community that's kind of bubbling, either in social media, whether it's outside culturally, then if there are enough artists, then most of the time that can kind of put you in, like, oh, this specific type of music is popular. This person is kind of connected to this scene, that makes him or her a lot better able to find coverage.
So basically, it's easier to be the big fish in a little pond to catch media hype than it is to, you know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't say that. I would just say it's about where you fit in community. Because honestly, if you're to be completely honest, if you're an artist that's just starting out, you don't have a lot of music out there, don't even worry about getting press. Worry about building community. Like, worry about building community first. That matters above everything. Like, worry about building community, because everything, and once you build community and a following around you, everything else comes. Then outlets are gonna want to follow you if they're hip to you, or if they get to you first. You know what I mean? And then by the time you reach the part to where you're a big household name, you have a hit out there, most of the time you'll have a team to kind of like, you'll have a team to help you get some type of press anyway. Nowadays outlets aren't necessarily tastemakers anymore. I don't think there's an outlet, like, you might have an outlet that has like a list or something, like, oh, here are the top 5 new rappers in this area, and most of the time nobody necessarily reads those fans of that particular artist. Most of the time people don't read those, and those are just done mainly on like a ceremonial level or like a symbolic level, just for like the outlet to say that we care about an artist that has less than like 1,000 followers or 2,000. It's just mainly done on like a good, just like as an offer of goodwill, so that they don't seem like, oh, you only care about the major artists, or this artist that most of the time you reach those.
So now I got a question for you. So every year a certain magazine puts out a freshman class.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
It's along the same lines that you're saying that it's...
No, I wouldn't go that far, because most of the artists that do make that list are kind of already established, or they're on the cusp. That list is for artists who are on the cusp, like they are one hit away, one single away, one feature away from crossing over into mainstream. Mm-hmm. So those artists, most of the time people don't know a lot of the artists, especially older people. They don't really pay attention to what like is popular on Rap Caviar. They don't normally pay attention to what's popular on TikTok. They're not paying much attention that's popping on Instagram. Where where the SoundClouds, the Rap Caviars, those are the new tastemakers. Those are the new people that say, hey, this person's it. So it might be somebody that's on Rap Caviar now, they might not pop off really into like the mainstream like consciousness to where they have a song that's playing on the radio all the time. They got the video on rotation all the time, on Vimeo on rotation all the time. Those artists are usually like on Double XL are usually like on the cusp of that. Like that's next for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not even in that segment. They're not necessarily being tastemakers. They're just letting you know, hey, these people are that one hit away from getting to this next level.
Okay, so here's the question. I feel like
Okay.
many artists want to ask this question. They
Okay.
just don't know how to ask it. What is the magic number? Because they always say you got to have a following of certain amount. And then you'll hear engagement is now the new thing.
Yeah.
Who like
Because engagement is everything because numbers can be bought.
right.
Numbers can be bought. Hell, engagement can be bought if you go to the right service, right?
Right.
So also even with streams and like even with streams, like streams can be bought. Streams can be bought. Like we know that, So part of it is again, like I have a 7-year-old daughter. I try to shield her away from certain types of music, but at the end of the day, she still got to go to school.
Yeah.
And the people, her peers in her class, they might be listening. So, for example, again, like I remember hearing her singing in the shower. She was like A minor. So, like the reality, and like I said, I don't play that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things to where I do pay attention to my little one for sure, especially like what she's like kind of like leaning to, because the reality is that like she's about what 4 years away from being the prime demographic for a lot of those artists that might be on that cover. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like I said, I just told you I'm 37. Studies have shown that most people, the average human usually kind of falters out for new music after like 32. That's why they stick to it. Thankfully, I'm able to keep up just by trade.
Yeah.
I kind of have to. But I was thankful, like even Double XL cover, like a lot of those, two of the artists I covered last year for BT, Maya Don and Lay Banks. So it's one of those things, like the fact that I knew two, I was happy. Like that I had already covered two already. And again, those are artists that were super popular on TikTok. So
yeah. I think the only one I knew on that list is what's Scarlet.
Yeah. And again, Scarlet got popular from social media.
Yeah.
So I think
that's where it's at now, right? It's the pool is social media.
Yeah. So I think honestly, I think also part of it is like I tell people all the time, don't worry about press. We always gonna be here. It's always gonna be an outlet. It's always gonna be looking for like that. The press is editorial press, I guess in that sense. I know everything. Also, a lot of stuff is leaning toward podcasts. A lot of like content influencer stuff. I think that have a lot more legs than press for sure. Like if we talk to editorial, I think part of that is also the reality that we're in American. People don't read like that anymore. So
we are in a literacy crisis.
Yeah, we're in a literacy crisis. So we're at this point now to where if you think about it, with that literary crisis, that affects editorial in the sense that people don't want to read over a certain amount of words. People don't like a lot of long form stuff. People don't like a lot of like investigative stuff. People just like the quick hit headline, that can get you in, get you out real quick. So I think that's affected music journalism in the sense to where there just aren't a lot. There's some outlets out there. Like I think Rolling Stone does a really good job on the music coverage, but it's like you see what happened with, like I said, you see what happened with Pitchfork last year. You saw what happened with MTV, the whole situation with MTV, and I was writing over there. And not only did they kind of get rid of editorials, until a couple weeks ago, they just shut down the entire site. So that's decades of articles that people use for research to just wipe the car, just easily wiped. Thankfully they got like Wayback Machine and stuff that you can go to for archival stuff, but the reality is that people aren't reading like that.
No.
So that kind of cuts the on the music side, that affects definitely takes making in regards to just covering artists, especially newer artists, because the ones that make the most money, especially also going back, a lot of outlets have, especially music outlets, they have different demographics and lean toward specific types of music and specific types of artists. So that's the other thing. On top of that, and it's getting, it's literally kind of like winding down a little bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to go because, again, they're not the tastemakers anymore. Rap Caviar is a tastemaker now. Playlists, just general playlists, whether you talk about Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, Amazon, once a week, they'll put out hey, here's some new artists, new releases from new artists, indie artists this week. All of them do it.
Yeah.
And all of them have different lists. And then a lot of those lists also depend on what the algorithm is that you kind of put in play by liking. That's why I tell people all the time. It's like when you're using Spotify, like hit that heart button, hit that like button, hit that skip button, because that really formulates the algorithm to make your own kind of sonic universe of what you like. Because the more you give it information, the more it's going to tailor itself toward you. People don't realize that. Yeah.
I was going to say, on the flip of that, for the artist, give the call to action to like, to subscribe, to do those, so that
follow them.
Follow them so that you can be in, start to kind of show up in people's timelines there for you. So I think that a lot of people feel like it's like the music industry has this magical like barrier, and I guess as I've grown in networking and stuff, you'll soon realize it's really not that gate kept, if you will. That's a word. Like there are people that maybe don't want to have people in what's mainstream, but at the same time, like you said, mainstream's changing. Like, it's not, if MTV News is down, but we still looking at like TikTok and all that other stuff. We just need to shift our focus on what media is now. Like, our traditional methods, our our traditional brands even are leaving.
Yeah, so, times change. Times change.
Times
change. Things evolve. Things change. Things mutate. Things transform over time. The more things, what's the saying? I guess the more things change, the more things
they stay the same.
Stay the same. So there are kind of through lines that kind of remain the same. Oh, I'm sorry.
You good?
Okay. There are kind of through lines, that make successful artists, like having a good team behind you, being consistent with music releases, being strategic with music releases, having a narrative, building a following, building your network around you. Like, those are through lines, but building that changes, over time. So
yeah. What would, because many artists hear that, build a network, build a community, and they just kind of rely on the current following they have, and even though most of it's like their cousins and like the people that grew up in
people, like, inner circles.
Yeah, how would you advise them to kind of clear up their social media? Because this, put on your social media hat now, and tell them how they would kind of clean that up in a way that kind of puts them in, either, because somebody told, I'm sorry, I sound like I'm going everywhere, but I'm not. Someone told me that in order to do it, you have to like drop half your following and then you can proceed from there. But does it take all of that, or should I just start fresh with my artist page? Or, like, what tips would you give an artist that's looking to find their community, but really the truth is half their following is people they already know that probably won't share their music, or probably won't, put a spin out, or maybe one, and then that's it. Because, your network is not normally your supporter. So how do you find your supporter with what you already have?
I say two things. If you're just going by social media, be consistent with, have a consistent schedule for posting and creating content. First thing. Number two, set a legible goal for yourself, for how many followers you want to make a week or month. Think about it. If you say I want to get 10 followers a week, right? 10 4 weeks, that's 40. So that means that's something. If you go to shows, if you go, because I feel like as an artist, you just support other artists support other artists. Most importantly, you support other artists that are in line with your same philosophies and approach to music. It doesn't have to be the same, obviously, but just you know, like-minded birds of a feather, right? Mm-hmm. If you go to a show, you can go up to 10 people and say, "Hey, I'm an artist. Hey, I want to sing you some music. Here's my Instagram." Hit them in the DMs. Hey, I just released a like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, here's some music. Hey, I'm gonna follow you. Here's some music. Hopefully you like it. You feel me? You gotta just like put yourself out there. I think going after the lightning in the bottle is what a lot of people what that does. When you go after lightning in the bottle, what usually happens is that you put all this work and you put all this work and then you just burn out and then you just give up.
Yeah.
And then you slow your own progress.
Yeah.
Like let it be natural. If you love music as much, because a lot of these people nowadays, they don't really love music.
They say that again.
They really don't. They just look at this as like a lick or a hustle.
They have commoditized music. Yeah. And those of us that love the art are still trying to preserve and keep.
Well, what I also say is now we're in a situation now where things are democratized now because of like distribution and streaming. So, for example, 40,000 people upload music to DSPs a day. That's 40,000.
Yeah,
that's 40,000. That's albums, singles, EPs, everything else in between. So part of it is, again, it's that one-to-one. You got to touch grass. You got to go outside. You got to. You don't have to. I say this: if you want to avoid all of like the music industry stuff, like conferences and all this other stuff, and what's those called? What are those called? Showcases and all those like kind of. If you feel like you're above all of that, by all means, I get it. I understand that. But if you love music, you got to have artists that you like. Go see them, and while you go see them, hey, look, hey, you sit next. If you in a stadium, you sit next to somebody. Hey, how's it going? Like I do that on a regular anyway, and I ain't even an artist. I just do that just to say hello, be friendly. You'd be like artists would be amazed what a simple hello, how's it going, and a handshake can take
you. Yeah. I'm gonna say this though: don't be afraid to go to those showcase. Go do that stuff. Yeah. Because here's the thing: I just told you I met Ural at a conference. That same conference showcasing was Kenyon Dixon. Showcasing was the two brothers. What's their name? I can't think. Another person showcasing was Amina Butterfly. You know what I mean? Like they weren't too afraid to do it. Like there's
absolutely. I'm not saying I'd be against it, but I'm just saying if that kind of like more, I wouldn't call it corporate, but if that more like hyper professional, route kind of aches you a little bit, because it does, and some people just don't fit into those areas. Some people don't. Just like some, like I'm just saying on my head, just like some people, like I said, some people just don't want to go to shows. And I'm not talking about going, I'm in LA. I'm not just talking about going to the Forum or SoFi or Crypto or something like that. I'm talking about, can you go to the 100-person venue in a dive bar somewhere? Like, can you go to, somewhere like the Roxy or, RIP the Viper Room or, something small, or the Novo, or, I mean, it's so many. There are at least over 50 venues alone in LA. I feel like if you're an artist and you really you have an artist that populates at least one of those venues on the small. I say sometimes the smaller the better. Because one, you don't know where that artist is going, or you don't know where their fan base is going, or you don't normally know where those like press are going. Because when you're an artist or any type of job that you have, a career that you're going to, you don't necessarily want to network up. You don't want to like network and just like, try to like, oh, who's the next lick? Nah, you want to kind of be a part of a collective. Like, for example, like there are artists, there are artists that I covered, years ago. Like I remember when I was writing for Soul Train in like 2013, I covered a very early Victoria Monet. When she was, I think she was on Warner, but like, That's 2013, and she just got her big glow up last
Say
year and this
that
year.
again.
So you don't
People,
know where artists. So you don't know where artists are. So I think part of it is that if you are an artist that don't have an, I say this: it's a lot of writers out here that's still trying to like get on and like I'm gonna start my own blog and I'm gonna start my own piece of content where it's a podcast. Hit them up, even if they only got like one person looking at them. Get your training in at least for the media, for at least the media training.
yeah,
Get the media training in at least because they just gonna use you to train to get to their next artists that they get to, depending on how long they decide to stay in the game. So because again, you don't know where someone's going to be at 10 years from now. So instead of worrying about, I got to get to that one person that's going to put me, don't worry about that too much. Because most of the time, if you go up really quick, there's some like things that come along with it. that
yes.
there's some things, there's some things that usually come along with it that's probably going to like 9 times out of 10 go against what you are as a human being.
You
Whether
don't
it's
want
like,
to sell your soul. Slow cook, okay?
yeah, slow cook. The best food is always slow cook.
Straight up.
The best food is always slow cook. So I would say I tell artists all the time, go to shows. Like I work with artists, they don't go to shows. They don't go to shows. They don't enjoy music.
They don't go to shows and they don't want to be at a show unless it's them putting it on.
Yeah, unless they put it
And
on,
have no stage.
or if it's some big artist that's wouldn't even give them time of day to listen to their music. So
So basically, y'all, he's saying small bites.
yeah,
Don't worry about the big fish right now. Take your time and climb up like
yeah.
everybody else. He
Walk
said,
around your neighborhood.
yeah, don't be afraid to do the low level things.
Yeah,
The reality of the matter is that's how you get seen. That's where everyone's at. I the same. Listen, let me tell you how much that conference has blessed me in the last decade. Like so many things that I've seen was rooted in things that I observed at that conference, and one of those for sure was the man that you think is moving things and running things is not just because you see them all over the place.
yeah,
A lot of the time, the mover and shaker is the person you can't even really Google like that,
yeah, yeah,
and you're not
yeah,
gonna you're not gonna find him at the big time flashy stuff. You're gonna see him at these conferences
yeah,
and on the panels and things like that. Like if you want real information, you're gonna have to invest as much
yeah.
as you invest in your clothes and your look and all that other stuff. You got to know the business.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and
have
I tell,
to see
and
what I'm.
also like I said, be creative. Like really,
Yes.
like creative. Be creative and be around creatives. Like again, going to the fact, like there are artists that I've worked with that like don't like I said, they don't have a care about music at all. They don't care. Like this is just a hustle, and if you
Yeah.
treat this like a hustle, well, I've realized that if you treat this like a hustle, it's gonna hustle you.
Yep. Yep.
I didn't care when I started this. Like when I started this, I had like 4 jobs. Like I tell you, even when I stayed in Baton Rouge maybe about a good 2 years, and me and a friend we started a blog. That was doing pretty all right, but it wasn't anything like we still had. I was a substitute teacher. I was an assistant manager at Domino's. I worked for Janny Clean, cleaning up banks and office buildings, and then I gave plasma 2 weeks, 2 days out the week, and then I wrote on the weekends and at night. So, and I was doing phone interviews. I was doing about 3. So, and I did it because I had a passion for it. I did it because I had a passion for it. And when people see your passion, that kind of leads you to other stuff.
When people see your passion.
Yeah, when people see the passion, they know like, oh, he's for real. Oh, he been doing it this long. And like honestly, a lot of artists I covered on Wax Day ended up being kind of like, bigger artists eventually. I think we gave YG his first like big cover. We covered early Kendrick. We covered early Freddie Gibbs. We covered a lot of artists like mad early. So by the time, even if I wasn't able to have access to those specific artists, I would still have. I eventually had access with their PR. I still had access to their management because that's the other thing. Artists like you have artists is only one person, and what I realized really early on is that once that artist, like, and me, I was never the type to be friends with artists like that. Like, I have artists that I'm, sociable with and respectful of. that I have like professional relationships with. But honestly, what I realized that artists are one person, and publicists they might have 5 or 6 awesome artists eventually. That
Yeah.
especially when you're a publicist on a high level, a music publicist or just a brand publicist on a high level, you're working with multiple brands.
Yeah.
That you're working with multiple brands, multiple artists. Most artists only keep a publicist normally that like 5 years, 4 or 5 years, less than that. And that's
Yeah.
big artists. Most artists only keep management. Like that one manager that managed this artist, they might break up and he might have another artist. He might end up with an established artist or an artist that about to blow up again anyway.
Hmm.
So you just never. So those are what I've realized, that artists with management and publicists have really maintaining those relationships are a lot, in my opinion, for the job, not for the cool points, not for, because again, a journalist don't interview one artist.
Right.
What artists, even like I know several people that have had Beyonce, they've done Beyonce interviews and Jay-Z interviews, and they are not working in the journalism field.
No.
Like these, like we all know, like we know artists interview the biggest of the biggest, and they not doing, and they're not doing it anymore. And part of that is because a lot of the times they focus on those biggest. Me again, I love the music. Like I just love the art. I have an appreciation for it, and that shows in my work. So most of the time, a lot of the time, um, I don't most like for me personally, like what I listen to, like I'll listen to an artist that got like 400 followers, and I'll be their biggest fan. Now, does that necessarily kind of lead to press? No, not at that moment. But at the very least, I'm listening to your music. I'm following you. So I'm seeing like, oh, the next album, he got this feature. Okay. Oh, the next project, he got this feature. He went from 400 to 1,000. Okay. This year, oh, he went from 1,000 to 1,200. Oh, okay. He's still going. Oh, he's at 3. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm following. Okay. Yep. We need to. Hey, I've been following this. I go to the editor. Hey, I've been following this person for the longest. He got a following. He or she is doing this XYZ. We need to get on this.
So number one is, don't worry about getting seen, or don't worry about seeking somebody out. Worry about them coming to you.
Yeah.
Do your thing to the point where they come to you.
Yeah.
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 Build a
Because I'm
relationship.
like, because again, this isn't the 90s anymore. This isn't the early 2000s, like I showed you earlier. But we have over 40,000 40,000 music single pieces of music get uploaded to Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, all of that per day.
Yeah.
Per day.
Yeah. As I told you off camera, I feel like DSPs need to move more as a marketing tool. Don't worry about it being your bread and butter. Just use it,
Yeah,
especially with
that's
that.
more of a marketing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so like, because now again, going like I said, artists are more like brands now. Like I think honestly, like you have singular artists who that's all they make music because they have a background or a team around them that just lets them be music artists.
Mhm.
And I think part of that is, um, you don't have a lot of artists on there because clearly labels aren't doing artist development and stuff like that anymore. They're not hitting you up until you know you've reached a certain barometer, right?
Yeah.
And I think, and I think that, and I think that the purpose, that's why we don't have a lot of superstars like that anymore. Like we have artists that are popular for a season, but you don't have a lot of superstars. That's why you don't have a lot of Beyonce. You don't have a lot of Taylor Swifts. You don't have a lot of you don't have like a Usher like that. You don't have a lot. Like we grew up in a time where it was a boatload of those. And now because of the way the industry is, but the economy's changed, the music industry economy has changed, and because of democratization, it's really less about that. And
Yeah.
I think when you have 40,000, I know when I was at Hip Hop DX, my mom was like, now I might get 100 emails a day, but when I was at DX, I was getting 500-600. That's a lot to go through. That's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of emails to read a day. On
Mm-hmm.
top of trying to write editorial to meet your editorial benchmarks. So best believe, if they don't tell you, journalists have benchmarks too that they have to make. A lot of artists don't understand that. Journalists editorials, they have their own. They If you're at a big outlet, normally you're attached to some type of corporate structure, and that corporate structure needs to know if you're making us money. And
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that.
It just
They They just think we just do this shit for free and for the love. You
Yeah.
know, like,
No,
like we ain't got bills.
no. I was gonna say, trust me, y'all. Don't think I've run a few artists through Ural. I've let him hear a couple, y'all. He was like, "No, it ain't it.
Yeah,
No, typical. That's
yeah,
cool. That's all right. He'll tell the truth."
yeah.
So that's right.
And then that's another thing. That's
Yeah,
quality. That's another
yeah,
thing. That's a quality issue. Like that's quality with intent. Like, what's the intent of quality? So that's the other thing. I'm like, you know, you have certain artists that, I mean, it's a lot of popular artists that me and you can go back and forth with in regards to artists that just aren't quality, but they're selling. They're selling. And why are they selling? Because they have a team, they have a hook, they have a consistent social media presence. They've utilized TikTok. Well, a lot of the artists who I feel aren't quality are really good at using TikTok.
yeah. A certain color, an
Yeah.
attractive color.
There are a lot of artists that are good, and they're, like I said, and me personally, now these might not be artists that I listen to on a daily, but I listen to them from time to time, and I listen to them at the function,
Right.
because they have a lot of artists, even if I don't think it's necessarily quality, still has a time and place for which I can enjoy it. Now,
Yeah.
my everyday on the computer writing, headphones on, type of stuff, that's not what I'm into.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I think quality and artistic merit is really like subjective. It's opinion based.
Yeah.
When one, like, it's the reason why, for example, you look at like an outlet like No Jumper or DJ Academics. Now, a lot of the artists that they push, I don't necessarily rock with, but they have a fan base. They're able to, have a fan base of people who crave and want that music. So that's why they win, because they are able to properly organize and get people to come see what they have, because they have a specific type of music and style and wave and vibe that the consumers of their content relates to or likes.
Yeah.
Just, it's just like people can talk about, like, this weekend, people can talk about Divorce in Black, the Tyler Perry movie on Amazon. People can talk about the quality of it all they want to, but Tyler serves a fan base, and he serves his fan base well. We can learn a lot from Tyler and how he interacts with his fan base and how he distributes content specifically to them. So even if I'm not necessarily a fan of the art, I gotta respect the hustle, and I watched it too. So
Yeah. I
and
did watch it too.
I watched it too. But again, like, I don't consider that like great art in a film that I see over and over. But somebody is. It's not me.
Yeah.
But somebody is. And who am I to hate on that? Who am
Yeah.
I?
But so here's my thing, especially as I, try to enter in the media on a
Okay.
different platform. I think that there is a place for a Tyler Perry movie, just like there's a place for what's that channel that everybody loves?
Oh, Tubi.
Movies, the
Yeah,
Tubi
Tubi.
movie.
Yeah,
Just like there's
absolutely.
a place for Spike Lee, and some people might say
Uh-huh.
Spike Lee is just Tyler Perry on a different side. so,
So, hey, but
so
again, he got the Grammy. I mean, he got the Oscars, and you
that's what I'm
know,
saying. Yeah,
the high art, and then, like I said, he makes films for a specific group of people.
yeah,
He makes Spike Lee makes film for black, like, cinemaphiles.
yeah,
Like, that's his thing. He specifically makes films for black people who love cinema, not
yes,
black people who go to the movies when the Marvel movie come out from time to time or watch Tubi movie. For black people who have a genuine love of
yeah,
cinema,
yeah,
like, that's Spike Lee's thing. Tyler not making movies for black people who like cinema, like, who really have a deep love. Again, this is he started off in the stage play, chilling circuit hustle. Again, chilling circuit, even where Tyler Perry comes from, that's not considered high theater. That's not Broadway theater.
no, Chitlin Circuit tells
It's
you,
a chilling circuit. So,
yeah,
I mean, again, that's a specific fan base. That's a specific consumer group. And I think the same thing goes with any type of art, whether you're talking music, whether you're talking film, television, video games, literature. Because we got, you got Zora Neale Hurston and you got Quentin Mills.
exactly. That just we're not a monolith.
We're not a monolith.
We're
Yeah.
not a monolith. And so what we should do is, I think this is it. because Tyler Perry is a billionaire,
Yeah.
we feel like that's the narrative that comes out, and we're looking at our counterparts
Yeah.
as they're feeding this and they're
Yeah.
funding this because
They're not. Tyler funded that himself.
I was like, you billionaire, y'all heard that, right? Billionaire.
You don't become the thing is, you don't become a billionaire like Tyler Perry unless you're funding those type of films yourself.
Yeah.
Because because the reality is, if like the reality is Spike Lee, but like I said, he's for people who love cinema. A lot of the films that Spike Lee made, he has like various investors. He goes to the studio system because he knows that well. Tyler, all of his films through Lionsgate, even the Netflix stuff and the Amazon stuff, those are his distribution deals. A lot of people don't understand that. He funds all of that himself. And then most of his movies on his own, and most of his films, the budget is no more than 50 mil.
Yeah.
Like his budget. So when you have a film, so when a Tyler Perry puts out a movie for less than for less than 50 mil, if at least if 30% of Black America went to go see his films, they're gonna do good at box office because his films don't have to make $100 million. If they do, cool. But he doesn't have to because he gonna make his money. Like I think Divorce at a Funeral. I mean Divorce in Black. I wouldn't get. I think that budget's probably about 30, 40 million. So it's with a distribution on Amazon, like that's easy to get that money back. A lot of people don't understand that because again, a lot of his biggest critics honestly don't understand like the logistics of the film industry.
Yeah.
And why he was able to finesse the film industry the way he did. Now, again, I don't look at his movies as high art. Divorce in Black, won't be on my like best top films of 2024. I watched it. I had a good time. I laughed. I laughed a lot, probably at inappropriate parts where I was supposed to be laughing, but that's okay.
Shout out to Ursula Robinson. She played the mama.
Oh yeah, yo.
I've been watching. I've been Facebook friends with her for years and didn't realize.
See, that's the cool thing. You don't know what you didn't think she was going.
I've been watching her blow up over the weekend. It's beautiful. It's
beautiful, and you don't know. And how did you meet her?
I don't even know. I don't even remember.
See?
We're just Facebook friends.
So so you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So the same thing works with a lot of that works same thing with music. Like a lot of the times, like you look at a lot of these artists out here now, like a lot of these artists, they're self-funded. They got a community around them. They're a part of a conversation. And they're really good at utilizing TikTok. They're really good at utilizing social media. They're really good at understanding metadata. And if whatever they don't understand, they got somebody on that team that does.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm sure there's people even watching this probably like, what is metadata? Like they don't really know those things. Like that's like, don't worry about it, y'all. I'm working on it. I'm working on all of this. We're gonna have it. Y'all gonna understand it from A to Z. Yeah. However, we are kind of running out of time, and now that I'm on a network, I gotta be timely. So, thank you first of all very much, Ural. Thank you so much. You dropped some good gems, and I'm gonna cut this video up and then put it all out because it's rare that people understand. Like you're aiming. It's not a bad thing to dream big, but dial it back and take the steps to get there.
Yeah, like Nipsey Hussle said it best. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a marathon for real. Yes.
Like that's the whole point that he was making.
So, you know me. I got my. If you guys have questions in the audience about media, about anything like that, go ahead and ask while I'm doing this. But I have 3 segments, and my first segment is That's Dope. Okay. And so That's Dope is basically a brand or something about brands that you think is amazing.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while too. I just think honestly, like right now, a brand that I'm really digging. I'm digging the Brain Feeder label out here in LA. That's Fly Lotus's label.
Yeah.
I think the quality of music that's coming out and the diverse range of sounds that are coming out the label and how they're marketing. Hiatus Coyote, they just, they're an Australian band, but they're signed to they're signed to Brain Feeder. I mean, they did a wonderful marketing campaign for Love Heart Cheat Code. I kind of covered a little bit for BET, and yeah, they literally in Australia. I guess they're from Melbourne, and they literally got their they literally put up a like had like a uh like a search for a free show for them.
Mm.
And it was like in a random like alley somewhere. It was crazy, and like hundreds of like thousands of fans came out.
Like
Like
a hunt,
like a hunt, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's a little scavenger hunt. Yeah,
yeah, like a
that's
scavenger hunt. Like that's engagement with your
dope.
friend.
That's dope. That's
Like
that's unique.
yeah,
That's dope.
like
It's
that type of stuff is dope to me because that's how you like they knew there were going to be fans that were going to establish. They was going to look, you know what I mean, and then that creates a narrative not only for the artist but for the fan.
yeah, and it makes it interactive. It makes it worth
Yeah,
it.
all of that. You're engaging. It's honest
Yeah,
engagement, and it involves new music.
and it's created an experience.
Experience,
I
yeah,
remember when I went and did it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's really about like experiences, for it's for example, like the pop out show, that happened with Kendrick at the Forum.
I do want to
That
talk.
was an experience. That was an experience. I didn't go. I watched it on Amazon,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was an experience. Like there was a reason why he brought out Tommy the Clown.
Yes.
There's a reason why he brought Tommy the Clown did my 13th birthday party.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't be in LA and not know who Tommy the Clown is. Now, there's some transplants out here and people who are outside of LA, like, who is that? That looks
That
stupid. What's a
clown.
clown?
Yeah.
What's that clown? But to LA people, whether you are the hoodest of the hood or the nerdest of the nerd, you know who Tommy the Clown is. You done been to several parties in your childhood. And you done been to Battle Zone at least once or twice. I went to the last Battle Zone I was at before when I was like in high school.
Listen, I'm from Reno, Nevada, and I know about Tommy the Clown.
Of course.
And Watch Rise, and I
yeah, yeah, all of that.
so about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's how you engage with the community. Like that's a perfect example of proper engagement with the community and giving people an experience that people from LA enjoy, and that people who aren't from the city can look at like, what's this? Let me research. Let me see what's. Oh, this is cool. Oh, he did this. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dave Free and Dot are extremely intentional,
Yeah.
and I love it. This is the best part of it. I love. They'll do something probably not even thinking. I watched an interview with him at Big Boy, and he's like, "What do you think about your fans and all their theories about what you do?" He's like, "Some of that stuff, like y'all are so smart. Like he ain't even thinking." But I like that he encourages thought. Like he's not gonna dumb it down for you. And even, well, I'll say this. They Not Like Us is the watered down what he's been trying to tell you.
Yeah.
It's like, we want to dance. Okay, y'all want to dance? This is what I've been telling you these other 4 songs this whole time.
Yeah.
But you want to dance to it, okay.
Yeah.
But look at how it took off.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
It's kind of a conversation about the level of intellect again.
Yeah.
And I'll meet you where you at, but I'm not gonna dumb it down. But it got to the point where even in the video, like those of us that do like the thinking part of it, like he left stuff, little clues, little Easter eggs. I love how they're intentional like that.
Yeah, I was like, that's creating conversation, that's creating narrative, that's creating content. That's creating content without having to do it. So a lot of people were putting up the, this is what this symbolizes and Not Like Us, and this is what this symbolizes. Kendrick had to do that. People were doing it for him.
He ain't said nothing.
He hasn't said nothing. People are making the content for him.
Yes.
So
he hasn't even liked, alluded to, nothing.
Nope, none of that. So
it is all coming out.
It's all organic. It's all organic. People coming out with it, So I tell people all the time, like I said, it's about creating conversations. Like, let your music create conversation. Now, if you just want to throw out music, like I tell people all the time, you just want to make music and throw it out here, by all means. By all means. Like, if that's the route you're going to take, there's just some other things that you're going to have to do to supplement for not being in the conversation or not building community. And that's going to take a lot of money.
Yeah. And like you said, if it comes quick, it comes with sacrifice.
And that comes with some sacrifices. And it comes with a lot of stuff that you're not going to be willing, that a lot of people honestly aren't necessarily willing to do. And if they do that, that normally leads to them doing even more stuff that they don't want to.
Yeah.
Or that they know ain't really vibing with them well.
You got to do the slow cook.
Yeah.
You got to do it. So, what you say?
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
So my next segment is nope, and that's just plain and simple something you think is whack, a brand, an artist. I don't hold nothing. Say what you got to say.
Yeah, I think that's really like I think like to be honest, like I think the 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 brands that I don't like always do things that I feel are non authentic. It's like you're pandering.
Yeah,
You're just doing you're going or instead of like easing your way in, you're like trying to force and bump people over to kind of get into it. You
yeah,
know, those those are like the brands that I don't necessarily rock with are those that kind of like just pander, like in a way that just seems like so outside the base. That
yeah,
seems so outside the base. Like for example, like we just talked about like the Tyler Perry films. It's like believe it or not, there are times when Tyler Perry tried to create some super high art stuff, and that didn't go too well for
yeah.
him.
No,
That didn't go too well for him.
he knows his audience. Let the
He
man
knows his
cook.
audience. Yeah, let the man cook. Let the man cook.
Yeah,
There are times where he's made movies that like, oh, he's really trying to go. Yeah, don't again, like he's not worried about trying to make super high art. He wants to make art for his fan base. So I
which
think
right, which just adds. I don't care after this hour look, which
okay,
further just adds on to except like just like there's a Tyler Perry Studios, there's a Hooray, there's
yeah,
a
absolutely,
there's
yeah,
Black and Sexy TV. There's
absolutely.
people all over the place.
Absolutely. And yeah, I was like, yo, the way Issa Rae, think about it. Issa Rae went from, the college dorm show that she did to Awkward Black Girl and then the choir, that choir show, which was hilarious. Like, choir was awesome.
Yeah,
And then, like, think about it, between that and Insecure, that's like a 10-year gap. Insecure premiered, what, 2016?
yeah,
She had been making, videos since like 2006, 7.
yeah. And I watched him. I was a
Yeah,
fan.
that's a 10-year gap, and she built that organically. Like she's from England. Like I know people that are on her team, like that she kind of worked with a long time. I interviewed her when I actually interviewed Issa for Soul Train when she was kind of dabbling in like the multi hyphen and stuff. But she had that rap group, the Double Mints, with
Yeah,
the Booty Short song. Like she was doing shows. She
yeah,
was performing at like festivals and stuff for a bit. Like she ran that, until I guess she just pivoted, leaned more toward the television stuff. But the reality is that again she built that organically. She built that with her neighborhood. She built that with the community. The community, she'll be the first one to tell you that the community is really what lifted her up.
yeah,
And she
yeah,
just took the baton and ran with it.
yeah.
Now she had, and then that leads to the hill, all the stuff she's doing with the hilltop. Like I go to hilltop once a month, at least once or twice a month. She had the hilltop in Inglewood, she got the hilltop in Sloss, and the one in downtown that most of the transplants go to. But but
What's hilltop? What is that?
that's her like coffee shop. Yeah, it's like a coffee shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a coffee shop. So yeah, I'm like, part of it is again, these are people that build organic communities. And that's what matters the most. You got to build your community. You can't build your community just putting out releases and hoping for the best.
I hope that my viewer that's watching this is listening because I know that who the viewer is, and I hope that any other viewers that watch this or catch the replay, y'all understand the importance of building community, and that don't just don't put out music just to put it out. Be intentional, but at the same time, don't hold on to music because you think it's not like
Yeah,
you're not gonna. I can't hear if I don't hear you. I don't know you do anything.
yeah.
So
And
that's
also, don't be afraid to push your music for longer than a week or a month. Like push it forever. I was
Trap
like
Queen
Victoria
was
Monet.
4 years. 4 years for Trap Queen.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was like they pushed Trap Queen for a while. I think I heard Trap Queen in 2014, early 2015. Before I was like, what happened to the first thing that came? What happened to that dude? Like that's just the first thing. Visually, like, oh, what happened to his eye? But it had a narrative, it had a story, it had a look. Trap Queen was, what it is. It ended up being a huge single, but I mean, he worked that for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked there. I'm like, Victoria Monet it just came out with a video for All Right, and Jaguar 2 dropped last year. Around this time last year. So
Yeah.
she's still pushing it. She's still pushing it. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to push your old catalog, because a lot of your older catalog can also be used for things called syncs.
Hmm.
That's the real reason to build a catalog is for syncs, because a placement on a television show or reality show can get you a whole lot more money than your average daily monthly listeners on Spotify,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yep. So if you my last segment is a brand you want to put us on to.
Huh.
Somebody
A, a brand I would put. Oh my god, that's so many. It's so many cool brands out there. It's so many cool brands out there. Huh. Yeah, I don't, yeah, it's so many brands. I can't think. Like if we're talking music brands, we're talking.
anything. One time it was cookies. It's anything.
Huh.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, that's a good question. Hmm. Um. I guess if we're talking music, I'm really listening to a lot of Channel Trez's album. He's from Compton. He makes like house music. But it's kind
Mm.
of like feel like it's kind of for the hood though. It's not like that, that Vogan type of house. It's like for regular folks. Not
Good
regular folks.
house.
Let me but let me see that. Not regular folks, but it's really cool. He makes really cool house music. He just dropped a dope album called Head Rush through RCA, and like I said, he's probably making some of the most coolest dance music out the West Coast, in my opinion.
What'd you say his name was?
Channel Tres.
Channel.
Yeah, Channel and then Tres, Tres.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna look at
Yeah,
it.
he's been making dope music for about a good 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, you
But
mean like channel tres, like three?
yeah, three, yeah,
You gotta use your R.
yeah,
You-
yeah. He's pretty cool. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Okay.
Been listening to the Head Rush album a lot. Yeah, listening to the Highest Coyote album. Been digging that a lot. Yeah, I've been digging that album a lot too. Yeah,
Rap.
that's Rhapsody album is fire. Rhapsody, I actually discovered Rhapsody for the blog that I was writing with before she dropped her first mixtape.
Mm.
When like Knife Wonder had just came up with Jam. Like I just knew rap was fire when I heard the Return. I think the first mixtape she dropped was Return to the B Girl. I think that was her first mixtape. Yeah, and yeah, I just knew she was gonna be fire. Like I just knew. Like it was like yeah, yeah, and just to watch her growth, and honestly, it's kind of I think a lot of Rhapsody fans wish she was bigger. She was on the public consciousness.
Yeah.
I think she deserves the same platforms as the big male artists. I think she deserves
The
she
hip
deserves
like no, just stay like a little bit, cause but
yeah.
no.
Nah, I she yeah, like in my opinion, like she is a superstar. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
and I feel like and I know what the climate doesn't really allow that, but I'm just happy to know that she can sustainably put out quality content.
Mm-hmm.
Put out really thought provoking, really good content, even if she's not, the Billboard Hot 100 for 5 weeks in a row type of artist, or, she's not getting 10 billion streams, on said DSP. I respect the hustle. And again, she's one that's had to slow cook her way. She's had to really slow cook her way. So I can appreciate that. I really appreciate her as an artist for sure.
She reminds me a lot of Bahamadia. Remember her?
Oh yeah, of course I remember Bahamadia. Yeah,
Yeah. She
of course
gives
I
me
remember.
like the
Yeah,
next generation Bahamadia.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And like I said, she's been able to put out she's been able to put out a lot of music over the past 10 years, a lot of quality music over the last decade and some change. She's put out, and it's like I said, I wish she was on the public consciousness of other rappers, male or female. I wish she was really in like the public consciousness, but sometimes that's not. Like I said, sometimes it's not about being in that public space. Sometimes it's about putting out quality music, making your dough, making your bread, and keeping your integrity intact.
mm-hmm.
I think that matters more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's his name? His name is Dixon now, but he has a song on SoundCloud
Uh huh.
called "Lose My Soul,"
Uh huh.
and that speaks a lot to it. Is I
Yeah.
feel like not just your like the giving your soul to the Illuminati, not just
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
genuinely like sometimes the more you're out and exposed, the more rubbed down you are. It's not really grit. You don't have that
Yeah.
same grit. I would
Yeah.
say the same thing happened to Kanye. Like he lost.
Kanye's a different conversation in regards to like capitalism and what it does to black men at that level. That's a whole
Yeah.
other, that's a whole nother controversy. But I think with Kanye, we can all learn something from some of the glaring mistakes he's made regards to like his relationship with community. I think there are some lessons we can learn from him in regards to like bucking the industry trends the
Hmm.
way he has in a very like I'd like to say in a very dictatorship like level. I think there is but I also like I said, he is a black man that's had to deal with capitalism at a level that I wouldn't even understand. And I
Right.
think a lot of his critics wouldn't necessarily understand either.
Right.
And I think we should definitely that's what like I said, that's what any black man or woman that's at that level. At that like multi-billionaire level. Like there's some psychological traumas that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
It seems like you have to kind of get, like you said, the higher up you get, like more money, more problems is
Yeah,
literally
it's literally yeah, and
happening.
that's yeah. And Biggie when Biggie and Diddy made that, they were multi-millionaires. The
Yeah.
billion once you get to that B, yeah,
Yeah. I can only imagine.
yeah, I can only imagine.
I
Hopefully, and
think
maybe
that,
one day I'll get to it, but I don't know. Maybe
yeah.
one day you'll get to it. Hopefully,
One
let's see.
day we're gonna get to it, but we gonna not be so we're gonna be hopefully unscathed, or at least as minimally scathed as possible.
Yeah, because that comes with some scars. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm learning that just even in elevating on the small, just trying to be not a dollar millionaire. I'm
yeah,
just you know what I
yeah,
mean? You learn that there's people you got to kind of get rid of, there's people
yeah,
you have to reposition in your life.
yeah,
There's compromise, like you if you want to keep your integrity, like how they say as you raise who you are is it just amplifies it. That's
yeah,
so cool. And like there's people
absolutely.
that you see people's true colors in a crazy way, like just even as you elevate just to the next level, let
Mhm.
alone to the millionaire billionaire status.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I pray that we as we elevate in media and art and all that, that we definitely are unscathed,
Yeah,
or minimally
absolutely.
scathed as possible.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
you're. I want to have you back because I want to talk to you about some more stuff because
Okay, hey, I
tech,
am here. I am
even getting in tech, or there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk to you about.
absolutely. Well, I am here. You the homie for life, so feel
For
free to hit
sure,
me
for
up whenever.
sure, for sure, for sure. We're gonna talk off camera. I was serious about what I said.
Okay,
Okay, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ural, for coming.
thanks
Once
for
again,
having me.
follow Ural at UralG323 or go to uralg.com and hit him up. Okay. Thank y'all so much. Season 2 is here. I'm so excited. My next guest next week is amazing. He is, I call him an entrepreneur, an enterprising, rapidly enterprising uh person. His name is Elisha Sumo. He is the CEO of Sumo Enterprises. He's also a musician, a producer. He's got album out journeys. He's a graphic designer. I deal with a lot of multifaceted people, a lot of people that have several hands in different creative facets. And I am so excited to be talking to not just him, but my whole season is booked, and I'm excited to talk to the rest of them as well, just like I was with Ural. So hit me up at just.b.dope on Instagram or on Facebook at JMay Creative. My name is changing too, y'all. It's changing. I'll probably have that out by next week. Anyway, see you next week. Elisha Sumo will be with me. And thank you very much for viewing. You guys have a wonderful evening.